Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at a brand new legacy charge move for Tsareena in Pokemon Go, High Jump Kick. These battles were submitted to the channel by a member of the community, Smudgy B, so many thanks for the battle submission. High Jump Kick is a fighting type charge move, 110 damage for 55 energy, which is great damage per energy, with a 10% chance to lower your own defense by 4 stages, making it unlike any move they've added to the game so far. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches, and let's take a first look at High Jump Kick Tsareena in the Great League Catch Cup. Hopping into the first match, hitting Mantine into Incineroar. This is a positive lead. Opponent safe switches into Empoleon, and Empoleon will be answered with Tsareena. Tsareena hitting for significant neutral damage with the Magical Leafs, but will of course have to respect the Drill Peck, as that would do substantial damage. Building up to High Jump Kick, going to bait with the Triple Axle, looking for the shield, gets the shield, and now of course the Magical Leaf damage is going to be increased. Now this will be a bit of a tough farm down for Tsareena, but Tsareena farms down and leaves with High Jump Kick loaded. Is the opponent going to send back in Incineroar? Incineroar would wall the previous moveset of Tsareena, but not anymore. High Jump Kick picks up the one-hit KO in the back. It's Primeape, and this is just looking like a very straightforward win, as now with the Incineroar gone, I mean, there's just nothing the opponent can do. Primeape is just going to no-shield the Aerial Ace, understanding the futility of the situation, and just get Wing Attack down. Absolute dream lead in the next match, Mantine vs Shadow Whiscash. Opponent safe switches into Galarian Stunfisk, and the Stunfisk is met with a pretty hard counter as well, as Shadow Gligar enters the field of play. Stunfisk needs so many Rock Slides if it's going to want to be able to knock out the Gligar, and Gligar can consistently apply massive damage with these digs. Opponent going for Rock Slide number 2. They're going to need a third Rock Slide if they want to pick up the knockout, however, and Gligar is going to be able to make this dig. It does not KO, but it will get the opponent extremely low. Opponent is going to no-shield. They're going for the Rock Slide. Could potentially shield and make a play for switch, but instead choosing to let this go, and probably going to go for energy with Tsareena. In comes Tsareena. Tsareena is going to get the farm down, and Tsareena is going to be now met with the Shadow Skarmory. But Tsareena does have Triple Axle and High Jump Kick, which both hit for neutral here. Triple Axle bait gets the shield, and this boosted High Jump Kick is gonna do so much damage. This move has terrific stats. Tsareena is all attack. Opponent catches onto the Whiscash. Let's see this damage. This is neutral, nearly picking up the one-hit KO. Tsareena gets the farm down. In comes the Skarmory. Skarmory is just able to get that farm down, but Mantine should just be able to secure this victory from this point forward. Opponent will go for the Sky Attack, and Sky Attack not going to phase Mantine, even though it is going to be the Shadow Skarmory. And a combination of an Ice Beam plus an Aerial Ace should mean game over here. The Ice Beam is going to connect. Mantine trying to make it to one more move, but not before the Skarmory will be able to grab the last shield with the Sky Attack. But the good news is it's not going to matter, as Mantine fires off the Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace knocks out the Skarmory and secures the win. Picking up a bit of an awkward lead in the next match, Mantine versus XL Lickitung. Lickitung, definitely something you expect to see in the Open Great League. In the Catch Cup, definitely not a Pokemon that you're expecting to see a whole lot of, just due to the fact that building a whole extra Lickitung for the Catch Cup, definitely a very, very steep investment. But here it is, and Mantine does not have the most comfortable matchup. Mantine can at the very least play it very close, but typically over time I would rather be the Lickitung than the Mantine in this matchup. Lickitung is going to be firing off their energy. Mantine with the no shield, opponent will connect with the Body Slam. They're going to try and go for the farm down, but the Mantine able to hang on with 1 HP and make it to the Ice Beam. Ice Beam connects, down goes Lickitung, and switch advantage is quite nice here, especially when the opponent sends in Azumarill. Azumarill answered by Tsareena. In comes Mandibuzz. It's actually going to be an Air Slash Mandibuzz of all things, and that will be answered with the Gligar. Gligar commits the shield. Mandibuzz baits with the Aerial Ace. That is unfortunate. Gligar going to fire off an Aerial Ace in return. The Aerial Ace will connect. Aerial Ace not doing a whole lot of damage to that Mandibuzz, but at this point, it's a war of attrition. You just want to get the Mandibuzz as low as you possibly can. Mandibuzz will commit the shield. Gligar going to let this through, hoping it is going to be the Aerial Ace, and it is. Opponent not going for the harder hitting Dark Pulse, and that is pretty good news for the Gligar. This is still not a range where an Aerial Ace can knock out the Mandibuzz, however. Mandibuzz able to withstand that damage. In comes the Azumarill, and this is a situation where not having a Grass-type charge attack on Tsareena can be unfortunate, as Tsareena is now in an awkward situation where it can't really do any charge attack damage in this matchup. Tsareena goes for the triple axle. Azumarill is gonna no shield, making it to triple axle number 2, but this is charge attack priority, which means the opponent knows they can safely commit a shield, go for the Ice Beam. Ice Beam is going to be able to pick up a knockout, and unfortunately Gligar is just simply too low. Moving to the next match, leading Mantine into Abomasnow, which is a terrific lead for the Mantine. Opponent staying in. Unfortunately, there's weak connection to start with, going for the Aerial Ace, but the opponent is able to get a catch onto Feraligatr. Feraligatr will be swiftly answered with Tsareena. These magical leaves adding up. Opponent is going to make it to the Crunch. Crunch will be shielded, as it would do a solid amount of damage from the Shadow Gator. Tsareena would love to be able to land the high jump kick versus the Abomasnow. In comes the Abomasnow, but Abomasnow throws the energy right before high jump kick is reached, and Weather Ball picks up the knockout. Back in comes the Mantine, wanting to get some damage onto the Abomasnow or grab that shield back. Aerial Ace gets no shield. That does a ton of damage, and the wing attack going through, I think it might be enough to knock out the Abomasnow here. We'll have to see. And it does not. As we see, the opponent still has the 2 Pokeballs in the top right, so they were just able to save that Abomasnow on 1 HP. So watching for a catch in the endgame will be very important. Speaking of catches, there's a very nice catch right there, catching the Aerial Ace onto the Gligar. And this is very annoying as the Mandibuzz player, because typically double Dark Pulse plus a bunch of Snarls, you can do pretty well here, but now that an Aerial Ace has been caught, the opponent is going to be forced to go for double Aerial Ace plus Dark Pulse, and there, unfortunately, the game stutters, and what should have been good charge attack timing, the opponent ends up getting a free fast move. So that's really not ideal, because this Mandibuzz's energy is extremely useful in this endgame, and the Mantine is so incredibly low. Mantine committing the shield, probably needs a bait to win this, has to watch for the catch. Opponent does not get the catch, he makes sure to throw in the middle of the Snarl. The Aerial Ace does get shielded, Mantine farming up, opponent tries for the catch, they do not get it, and the Mandibuzz will now be hit with the Ice Beam. Ice Beam knocks out the Mandibuzz and clutches an improbable win. Hopping into the next match, Mantine versus Shadow Empoleon. Shadow Empoleon, a surprisingly not terrible matchup for Mantine. Despite the fact that Mantine is hitting with entirely resisted damage, this is still pretty okay for the Mantine. Mantine has some very nice bulk, and Empoleon, while it has nice damage output, is a pretty glassy pick in the Great League. Drill Peck will connect. We're going to see the Aerial Ace fired off by the Mantine opponent with a decision to make. They're going to protect HP on that Empoleon. Empoleon can honestly just go for the knockout, and I think you just go for a one-shield Magical Leaf farm down with Tsareena. As Tsareena with energy, that's the nice thing about the coverage moves that Tsareena now has access to, is having that offensive trifecta of grass, the ice, and the fighting honestly means that your energy is very rarely going to be walled. Like in the situation against Azumarill, at the very least, Magical Leaf is still hitting for super effective. They send in a Gligar, and Gligar is about to have a truly terrible day. The game stutters again. Oh no, please, game, let Tsareena cook. Thankfully, Tsareena is able to commit the shield. Triple Axle, get that Gligar out of here. In the back, it's Trevenant, and this is an easy win for the Gligar, because Shadow Ball from Trevenant is not enough to knock out from this health range. The Shadow Gligar shakes off the damage, and this Aerial Ace is going to be game over for the Trevenant. Aerial Ace picks up the KO and takes the win. Moving into the next match, leading Mantine into Shadow Gligar, an incredibly good lead for the Mantine. Opponent is going to save switch into Azumarill, and again, this is a bit of an uncomfortable situation, considering that the Azumarill has an ability to fight back with Ice Beam, and Tsareena, while these Magical Leafs are doing quite a lot of damage, its charge attacks are completely walled. The Triple Axle is no-shielded by the Azumarill. Tsareena is going to be able to get a nice farm down, but is going to have to give up both shields to do so. Azumarill, not the most common water type. Like, I would definitely say Lantern, Whiscash, Mantine are a lot more common. But unfortunately, in these sets, seeing quite a few Azumarill, and Azumarill being able to wall the high jump kick is quite unfortunate. And now going to fire off Triple Axle. Gligar commits the shield. We're going to see a pivot out in the back. Oh no, it's Registeel. It's Registeel. And this is very, very tough. Mantine going for the Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace not going to be doing much of anything here. Able to make it to the Ice Beam. Just trying to get whatever damage is possible. The Ice Beam is going to connect. Registeel will fire off the Zap Cannon. Double super effective damage. No way to stop it. Down goes Mantine. But there is still a full health Shadow Gligar. And Gligar does extremely well versus Registeel. In comes the Gligar. Gligar farming up energy. Opponent is going to fire back with the Zap Cannon. Zap Cannon will do a solid amount of damage. Do we see the debuff? Yes, we do. Opponent switches back into their own Gligar. And with the debuff, this is definitely a complicating factor. And that Aerial Ace did so much damage as well. This is looking like a very difficult game to win. The switch to Tsareena. Tsareena going for another Triple Axle. Triple Axle, of course, will be boosting up Zareena's attack. Tsareena going to be met with energy from the Gligar. Gligar not wanting to take any more boosted damage. The Aerial Ace picks up the KO. Aerial Ace will be able to pick up the knockout. Now it all comes down to surviving lock-ons. This Gligar has taken a lot of damage in this battle. In comes the Registeel, and Registeel will be able to take that win. Bit of a tricky lead in the next match, Mantine versus Steelix. This is a situation where Water Pulse on Mantine could definitely come in handy. Whereas the Steelix has high incentive to just fire off their energy as soon as they get it, go for the Psychic Fangs, and start debuffing more and more over time. Mantine throwing on very nice charge attack timing, going for the Ice Beam, and then potentially may look to switch out, and there's the switch into the Gligar. Opponent is going to respond with a Tapu Fini. Tapu Fini, unfortunately, you'd much rather have it aligned on either one of the other two Pokemon, but still able to land the dig. That does some very nice damage. Opponent will fire off their energy, and a Surf is going to be able to pick up the knockout onto the Gligar. Could go for farm on the Mantine or choose to go for farm on Tsareena. You do get more farm if you go into the Mantine, so I definitely don't mind this play. Mantine farming up quite a bit. The Tapu Fini will be able to make it to a Surf, but a Surf, of course, not too threatening. And now, the Mantine has a ton of energy, and in comes Steelix. Steelix going to be met with the Ice Beam. Ice Beam not going to be enough to KO, but it will get the Steelix into a range where a second Ice Beam would be lethal. Steelix firing off energy, and just saving two shields for Tsareena. Tsareena can output a lot of pressure with Magical Leaf, and continually boosting its attack with Triple Axle. Tsareena commits the shield. In the back, it's Incineroar, and unfortunately this game is over. One win con, going for the high jump kick. Do they respect it? They do not! They try and go for the two shield flex by calling the Triple Axle, and that's game over. Tough lead in the next match, Mantine versus Quagsire. If this was Whiscash on the lead, this would be incredible, but Quagsire, of course, has access to Stone Edge. Stone Edge can hit for massive damage. Mantine puts up a shield, gets the shield call right, but this is still such a difficult matchup. As the Mantine, you would much rather go up against the Shadow Quagsire, as with the Shadow Quagsire, with the wing attacks, two Aerial Aces comes pretty close to knocking out, whereas since it's the non-Shadow, Aerial Ace plus even an Ice Beam is not enough to KO. The Stone Edge is going to be able to land. That's going to do a ton of damage. Stone Edge connects. We see a save switch into Magneton. And this Magneton honestly might 1v3 here. Magneton is going to fire off the Magnet Bomb. That does so much damage. Magneton, incredibly frail, but no counter user on the team. And no Mud Boy. And they call the bait as well. Oh no, yeah. This is unfortunately just over. Magneton is going to absolutely sweep here. Oh my goodness. Magneton going to be met with the Tsareena. Tsareena continuing to farm. Tsareena committing the shield on the Magnet Bomb. Tsareena will be able to boost up its attack with the Triple Axle, but it's Magcargo in the back. The opponent emptying the spice cabinet here. My goodness. Magcargo, we're going to see a catch onto the Mantine. Maybe the opponent can just completely disrespect high jump kick again. Nah, can't get there, unfortunately. So that will be game over. All in all, high jump kick is a pretty great move that's just been added to Pokemon Go. 2 damage per energy is terrific for a 55 energy move. And the drawback, debuffing your defense by 4 stages is severe, but it only happens 10% of the time. So overall, this is a pretty great charge move. Unfortunately, Tsareena, the Pokemon that it's been given to, does not have amazing stats. So Tsareena, unfortunately, isn't helped out a ton by this new charge attack, but what I'm very excited for is the potential for other Pokemon down the road in future move updates to have access to high jump kick. There's some very interesting ones, including Lopunny, Scrafty, and an old Meta Titan Medicham, which can all learn high jump kick in the main series, so there's definitely some interesting Pokemon down the road that could potentially have access to this move. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our channel members. The support you guys provide is truly incredible, so thank you guys. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.